Hey everybody, it's Justin Adkins, and I'm so excited today to be sharing with you a card that I created for the Fall and Winter 2025 edition of Scrapbook Cards Today Magazine. For this card, I'm going to be using the Oh What Fun outline die, the Cheesy Christmas, and the Stripes and Sprinkles paperback by Lawn Fawn as the key products for our card. I'll be using 3 pieces of mixed media white cardstock by scrapbook.com, and I'll also be using some sea glass, some bubble gum, and apple mint cardstock by Gina K Designs for my creation as well. Using the giant Oh What Fun outline die, I am going to die cut each of those 6 panels of paper with my die cutting machine so that I get nice cuts from each of them. Now, from the white outlines, I do want to point out that there is an inner outline for the O in the top line. You're going to want to make sure to save all 3 of those inner outlines as you will need them later for the card. I am going to be using the outline portions from each of my white die cuts. You may find that you need to use a craft pick tool to get all of your pieces taken care of. From the colored cardstock, I am going to be spelling out the letters for Oh What Fun. So we have the O, the A, and the F from the bubblegum cardstock, the H, the W, and we also have the T and the U from the sea glass cardstock. And then we'll be using the exclamation point, the H, and the N for fun, and this is all from the apple mint paper. You'll also have a bunch of leftover scraps from this die cutting, so be sure to save them to make a card in the future. I am going to use some candied apple distress ink to ink blend the bottom of each of my bubblegum cardstock letters. I'm tapping off quite a bit of excess ink so I don't have any strong ink lines, and I'm just carefully brushing the bottom of the letters. Now for the sea glass paper, I'm going to be using Mermaid Lagoon Distress ink, and then I'll be using my blending brush to lightly blend the bottom of each of these as well. This is just going to add a really nice variation of color for each of these letters, and it's a nice finished effect to incorporate into our card. Finally, for my ink blending, I'm going to pull in some Lucky Clover Distress ink and use a blending brush to blend the bottom of our apple mint letters and exclamation point. Now, be sure, like I had said earlier, to tap off some of that excess ink. This prevents any sort of strong ink lines happening when you start to blend, and it gives you that nice soft edge. I'm going to pull in the Stripes and Sprinkles Petite Pattern Paper Collection by Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to use the blue-green stripes and the red sprinkles pattern, and we're going to use these together because they coordinate really nicely with the colors that we've selected for our card. I'm going to use the largest die included in the outside-in stitched rectangles. I will tack it down with some scrapbook.com mint tape, and then we will process it through our die cutting machine to get a nice clean cut. Now for the red sprinkles paper, we are going to use a trimming tool. This one is from Gina K Designs, and I am going to trim this paper down to about 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And this is going to provide a really nice frame for the striped pattern that we just die cutted previously. Let's take one of the Oh What Fun outline layers in the white cardstock and use liquid adhesive on it to adhere it directly to our die cut striped panel. We are only going to adhere one at this time. I actually have a piece of scrap paper that I'm going to lightly tap off any potential excess adhesive, and then I'm going to place it nicely onto my panel and just sort of use that time before it sets to nudge everything into place. I'm also using liquid adhesive inside each of the outlines so that I can get ready to put the letters into each of their places. Once I have a small amount of adhesive into each of the letter outlines, I'm going to take each of our ink blended letters and start to put them into place. I'm also going to use the aid of an acrylic block so that I am able to help add a little bit of extra pressure to each of the letters so that they set nicely. Now, the reason I only put one of our 3 outline layers adhered to our panel is because if you stack all 3 of them first and then you try to put the letters into each of their little wells, there's a really good chance that those wells might be just slightly warped to the point that it's hard for you to perfectly fit those letters inside. So I like to adhere the outlines to stack them after I put the letters into place, because then I don't have to worry about possibly contorting or bending or creasing any of those letters that we spent so much time die cutting previously. I carefully put the second layer on top of our first outline die, and this stacking element is really going to add some fun dimension for our card. Then I will take our third layer with a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back of it, placing it directly on top, and even from a video viewer standpoint, you're able to see that extra dimension that you get by stacking these outline dies. Now we're going to go back to those inner O circles that we had die cut earlier. We are going to be stacking these as well and adhering these inside of the O of the "Oh What's Fun" sentiment. This is going to just add a little bit of consistency, so I have all 3 layers nicely adhered and then put inside of the letter O for the word O. I'm going to then adhere our striped sentiment panel on top of our red sprinkle paper that we trimmed earlier in this tutorial, and it's going to give a really nice frame. With our layers nicely into place, I'm going to show you the images that I pre-colored up with the Cheesy Christmas stamp set. You can check out all of the Copic combinations for these colors down below in the description. I also stamp out a couple music notes using the Lucky Clover, Mermaid Lagoon, and Candied Apple Distress inks that we had used previously in this video for a little extra detail. Here you can see all the images we'll be using to put together for our card. I end up using a combination of both liquid adhesive and foam tape adhesive to put each of these nice little elements into place. I kind of wanted to sprinkle all of these little mice and gifs and music notes throughout the card just so that there was an equal presence of images throughout. I also wanted to utilize each of the letters as sort of points where each of these images could almost be standing or balancing on top of, and the only images that would be floating are the music notes, because that would just make sense. So you're going to see that I use kind of each little ledge that I can as a platform for like the radio, the presents, each of the little mice, and it just looks like they're having this super fun party on this card that plays so nicely with the "Oh What Fun" sentiment. Now don't be afraid to layer the different images on top of each other and nestle some images behind. I think that it creates a really nice realistic effect. I'll also be pulling in some holographic silver sparkle spots by Trinity Stamps that are going to just add the really most perfect little bits of shimmer and sparkle for this card. I'm sprinkling them throughout the card using liquid adhesive very sparingly to adhere each of the sparkle spots into place. I'm trying to nestle them into little areas of the card that might have a little bit more of an opening that we haven't included an image yet, because I think they're going to provide just the perfect amount of sparkle. The sparkle spots also have slightly a clear base, so it's not going to be a very overwhelming embellishment to use, but almost look like just circles of glitter that you have put onto the card, and it's going to just work really well with all of these little mice. Now I'm going to adhere our panel to our card base that's prepared. This is an A2 size card, but we're going to make it a little extra special, and we're going to use a top folding card base. So that means instead of it opening like a book, it's going to open on the shorter top end and open up towards the recipient. I think that these cards add just a little bit of fun extra whimsy, and I think that these mice play with that theme so well. With everything nicely adhered, our card is fully completed. I hope you love all of these different little elements that work together to create the most fun little Christmas card that features these adorable mice by Lawn Fawn. Now, don't forget, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe to the Scrapbook and Cards Today YouTube channel. And if you haven't snagged your physical copy of the Fall and Winter 2025 edition, you can find that digitally on the Scrapbook and Cards Today website as well. For more crafty inspiration, feel free to follow me over on all socials at JustinOte by Justin, and I've had a swell time crafting with you all today. Thank you so very much, and have a great day. Goodbye.